Hi, friend. Are you ready to move into a leadership position? Do you have interests and ambitions that you want to pursue, but feel like you don't know how to take that next step? Maybe you want to start your own coaching or consulting agency. I'm Mel, and I help educators define their career path through correct mindset, knowing your options, and getting prepared for your career transition. I will show you how to level up your leadership skills, share your expertise in a new way, create impact on a larger scale, and put your leadership in motion. As an educator for over 20 years, I started to feel underused and like I had more to give. I knew when the time had come for me to leave the classroom and affect change on a larger level. Now, I'm ready to help you determine where your talents and skills mesh with your passions and interests. Put your leadership in motion and move into that next phase of your educational career journey. Let me help you define your career path by having the right mindset, knowing your options, and getting prepared for that next leadership position. So power up and put your leadership in motion. Welcome back to Empowered Educator. I'm your host, Dr. Mel Vandevort, and today I have with me a special guest. I have Samantha Hamilton, and she is coming all the way from Northwest Arkansas, which really is not that far from me. And you're actually from Missouri, correct? Yes.
Yeah.
So we have a little bit of a connection just because of our geographical location, and my son works in the geographical area where you are originally from. So welcome to the show, Samantha.
Thank you. Yes, I actually still live in Missouri and drive to Arkansas every day. Yes. So I do a long commute, but that's okay. That's okay. My kids get to stay where they've gone to school, which is wonderful.
Yes.
So yeah,
and I have always had a commute. So I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I never have, but I don't actually mind it. That's when I listen to my podcast and try to get my mind right and ready to be me, and then switch back to mom and switch back and forth. Right.
Yes.
So I don't mind it.
Exactly. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me on here. I think it's my commute was one of the ways I found you and the Empowered Educators, which just the name alone is something that I am passionate about. This is my 12th year as an elementary principal, my 22nd year of education. And, I think something I'm most proud of is that the classroom is still my favorite place to be. And I really think, my one of my big goals is trying to help empower people to love what they do and to love this job every day. And it's kind of gotten popular to not love education and not love this work and all of the hashtags. And I really think there's a lot to love. And I think we need to bring that out, change that narrative a little bit. And that's kind of what I'm working towards this year with the teachers I'm working with. So this is my 12th year as principal. My first 10 years were in Missouri at the same school. We had an amazing little school and really made some good progress and did some things that we didn't think we could do or were told we couldn't do with our little school with really high poverty. We had about 84% free and reduced, really high transient population. And we were able to become a level 1 Marzano school. We were able to become a Solution Tree National Professional Learning Community School. We were able to get certified as a project-based learning school. My philosophy is to create a place that people want to come to work and want to come to school because life's too short not to love what you do every day. We really have made some really great progress. And then in 2017, we went a long way with culture. Culture was rough, and we really worked hard and really kind of thought I had it all figured out at that point and was ready to make a switch. And then our school got hit by a tornado in 2017. And so we lost our entire school one evening. And still, it's like our culture is going to withstand this. Nobody got injured. We just lost stuff. But that was not true. I learned a lot about culture and humans and trauma and how it affects, how all of that affects what we do every day, and how I had somehow created an amazing group of people who relied fully on my mental stability and my mood every day. And were a great faculty, but relied way too much on me. I took servant leadership kind of a little too far. In my 10 years, the tornado was definitely rough. We also had our school counselor pass away of COVID the next year. We had, we had just constant. And Some kids passed away and just a lot. So it definitely became time for me I'd taken them as far as I think I could. And I was ready to have a different scene and see if we could continue to do what we had created at that school in a shorter amount of time without a tornado and all the other things that we have going on.
Right.
So,
and you learned some things along the way. So,
oh man, changed my dissertation topic to the effects of trauma in a school, and definitely working on trying to help others that have gone through natural disasters do some things that I wish I wouldn't have done, and change some things that way. Just, continue to help each other along the way. So then I decided to head south a little bit, and I'm in a charter school now, which is very new. Of course, Missouri doesn't have very many charter schools, especially south. There's not any. And so
now here where I'm at, there are a ton.
Yeah. You have a lot up there, but we don't have any down in South Missouri. So
correct.
It's new for us, but man, I do see some value, and I've had to eat a lot of crow. I've had to eat a lot of crow of understand there's good and bad. I think there's good educators everywhere.
Absolutely.
I think there is good people everywhere. And I think some school choice has given me a little bit of a different mindset on how that works. So I'm really thankful for that opportunity. So I'm in a STEM and college career charter school, and we had about 200 last year. This year we're at 450. And
wow, that's some big growth, actually.
Yeah, really fast growth, which is why I just have a slight nervous tick. But man, it's been exciting to watch and exciting to be a part of, and have some of the best teachers and staff. I mean, we've hired all of them. And so it's been kind of cool to be starting a school from scratch. We trauma bonded last year over trying to do it all together and learn everything together. But man, we've got a great group. So it's exciting to see where we're going.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So you were a principal, have been for 12 years. Is that what you said?
Yes, ma'am.
That's a long time to be a principal. And I know that a lot of my audience, they are aspiring administrators, and most of them are probably thinking being a principal. That was where I wanted to go. That's where I went. I went straight into being a principal after I left the classroom. And it's a mindset shift, definitely. And you have to even as far as I was even still calling my office the classroom. And I mean, like, it's completely
my room. Yeah. I still call it my room. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Let's talk a little bit about what your journey looked like going into being a principal and what you've learned over the last 12 years.
Yeah. I have written several things down of things I wish I would have known. But you know what? I don't think I would change it either, because each of those perspectives and each of those years of experience have helped grow me and grow my staffs. It just like as a teacher, there's a lot of kids I need to apologize to for the first couple of years of teaching.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, I screwed up. I'm certain a few kids, but we all did the very best that we could. And I think that gives me perspective to do the best with my teachers.
I want to ask you a question before you go too much farther. What made you want to be a principal? What made you want to leave the classroom and move into that principal position?
Really good question. Here's how that's happened. I grew up as an educator kid. My parents were both educators, and I was going to be a teacher from the day I was born. I was playing school from the minute I could. Made my little sister write in cursive way before she was ready, but she can thank me later for that. She won't, but I did make her do that before she could go to recess when she was like 3.
Oh, wow.
But she's not forgiven me for that, but she'll be fine. Anyway, so I was always going to be a teacher, and I loved it. And so my second year, it was my third year of teaching first grade, I was in a small little district, and had just had a baby and was getting ready to have another baby, and decided my commute was going to be too long. So I was looking for one closer to where I lived. And the superintendent came to me after I had resigned and received a position. And he came out while I was on recess duty, which that doesn't happen when the superintendent comes out on recess duty. I was like, I am watching, I promise, And he said, hey, I heard that you are moving on. And I said, yes. And he said, I'm really sad to hear that, but come see me when you're a principal. And I said, no. I said, I'm getting my master's. I was getting my master's right then. I'm getting my master's in education and curriculum. He said, okay, well, let me know when you become a principal and hit me up. And I was like, okay. Well, I did. That he honestly was, that was a life-changing playground conversation, because he saw something in me that I didn't see in myself.
Right.
And saw something in me that I dug out, and man, I'm so glad I did. So that was the initial thing of like, I wonder if I could, maybe I should get my degree. Maybe there's no difference in the degrees. And if I don't use it, I don't, whatever. And so the combination of that and a couple of outstanding principals and a couple of less than outstanding principals really shaped my thoughts and my method. And I even advised going to some of them. I had a notebook that I kept, and I had the front of it was things I want to try to do someday. And the back of it was filled with things I will never do.
Yep.
And I kept that. I remember I lost it in Kansas City one year, about 10 years ago, but I was already a principal and I used that. And I remember those experiences shaped me to be the leader that I am, I think. And by no means was I prepared for this position, just like I wasn't to be in the classroom, but loving it and being passionate about it motivated me to do it every day. So it was definitely Dr. Wilson in the middle of Missouri that helped. And last year, when I was nominated for Principal of the Year for Missouri, I let him know. I was like, okay, you might have been right. And he was like, I told you, come see me.
Right.
So he likes to rub that in my face, but I'm thankful for that. And I have really used that to help grow other leaders in my 12 years, to help find people that didn't see leadership in them. And some people aren't meant to be leaders. Some great teachers aren't meant to be leaders. They're meant to be great teachers.
Right.
But
exactly.
some are meant to help others. And so it's really fun to watch that and help grow that. That's a big part of what I do now. It's frustrating to hire these great teachers and then train them to leave, but it's also what I'm called to do. So, because I think everybody deserves to love where they work.
Yes. And I was taking notes if you couldn't hear, because I'm making a really loud noise over here, trying to get to a page that's clear on my completely filled notebook that's erasable that I could take pictures of and, clean it up. But anyway.
Right. Best of intentions.
I know. But there are so many different reasons that we go into a principal position or an administrative position and, your passions and those things. And one was PD for me, and that was my passion. But I also was like you. I'm like, okay, I don't like the way you did that. And I think I can do it differently and better. And I'm that person too. But then we have so many of those people who are moving into those positions who really didn't ever plan on being a principal or an administrator of any kind, but someone saw something in them. And I've heard that story more and more from the people that I've been interviewing, that somebody saw something in them that they didn't see in themselves and really encouraged them. And we do get a bad rap. Like things are like education overall is getting a bad rap right now.
We had a good minute for like 10 minutes after COVID. And then it was downhill from there.
Oh my goodness. It's crazy the things that people say about educators who are educating their children, and we're doing the best that we can. And we have limited resources and, all of those things. But it's wonderful when someone sees something in you and they push you to be a better version of yourself. And they push you, we're not trying to take people out of the classroom because yes, we have a shortage of teachers right now. We have a shortage of substitute teachers right now. We have substitute teachers filling full-time teaching positions here in Missouri. Anyway, I don't know about other places in the state or in the country, but other states, but it's a real problem. Yeah. But we need those people who are strong leaders in the classroom to move into those leadership positions. Yeah. And, you were trying to make a change. That's what I'm hearing.
I think the only way to change that narrative is the people within to speak up. I hear people say, if you don't tell your story, someone else will. Yes. And I think it's really important that we talk about the good of education as well. And I try to do that in all areas of my life. There is good everywhere, and we have to seek that out, just like we can seek out the bad. Just like there may be a really rough day, there's a really good piece of that in the end. And if that's what I want to focus on, what you focus on gets done, and what you observe, you get more of. And I think that that's a piece that's missed. So if we believe the narrative that's posted on social media, and I think that has changed. The other thing I think that has affected overall education is the efficacy of teachers in general. I think their self-efficacy has gone down. And I think because education has changed, people can pretend that kids are the same, but they are by no means the same. COVID forever changed that. And teaching isn't what it used to be. We can't pretend that it is. And so that's another big thing that I try hard is to grow every person a little bit each time I interact with them. Give them some piece of information to read, some piece of information to do better, or some piece of feedback that said, you are getting it. And here's why. Because I have a teacher that has been teaching for 19 years. And I am the first principal that's given her positive feedback ever in 19 years. Nobody wants to work in a place where you're getting beat up. You are having to do more than anybody should have to do in a day. And nobody ever tells you good job.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not fair. And so that's the biggest thing is my job. And for anybody looking into going into this is my philosophy is people first, paper second. The paper will be there when the people aren't. It will grow. The emails will grow. There is nothing fulfilling for me about answering the emails, except really there's nothing because as soon as you finish one, there's 4 more to replace it. So it's by no means something that fulfills me. Have to do? Yes. So it's making sure I interact with the humans that do this work every day, whether it's through collaboration, whether it's through in observations and feedback or training or whatever. And so I'm constantly reading and finding new things, listening to new things that we can try because we're not done. We're not done yet. And when I hire teachers, my comment to them is always, I will never promise comfort, but I will promise support 100% of the time.
Yes, I love that. I love that.
As soon as you get comfortable, I'm going to push you right off that edge and we're going to try something new because we're not done.
Exactly. Growth is in the struggle. Yeah. So you cannot get stagnant where you're at because once you become comfortable, then that's where you really lose. I think even in the comfort, we lose things, when you get comfortable at your house. Like
perspective, you lose perspective.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. You like miss things that are happening in your home because you're comfortable there. And I feel like teaching is the same exact way. You get comfortable in it and then you miss or overlook or choose not to notice certain things that are happening. Yeah. I'm like you. I was one who I carried a little sticky note pad with me to the classrooms and my philosophy was every classroom every day. And which, doesn't always happen, but as many as you can. And I would leave a little sticky note on their desk or on their door or something like that. And they were so appreciative. Hey, I noticed you were doing this really well. And it doesn't take but just 5 seconds to jot something down and make a teacher's day by giving them some affirmation about what they're doing, because this job is hard. That job is hard. It's hard being in the classroom. You're crapped on every day by kids and parents.
Sometimes literally that's happened twice this year.
True story.
Yeah. And the thing is that to try to teach someone what we do, the perspective is never going to be there. Nobody truly understands it until we do it. So that's not my goal. My goal is to talk about why I love what I do and I'm passionate about it and to get others to love it too.
Yes.
To get them to understand what I do day in and day out and how I'm here till 7 or 8 o'clock at night because the paper's still here. It doesn't matter. I took this job and I love it and that doesn't matter. And you can't explain the profession to others, but you can, Brene Brown talks about naming the situations that you're in. And so even if I go in the note, I'm like, I can tell that you're having a rough day, but you pulled it up for your kids. Kudos to you. Just recognizing it and naming it and knowing that I see them and that I'm here for them, seeing them as people. And I talk about that. We have to see each other as people first to trust each other as professionals. So we try to do a lot of what I call forced family fun, where I will require them to, during collaboration, we played a game this week. Sit down, you're going to play a game with me and you're going to like it. You're going to have fun and you're going to enjoy it and smile and go do something together. I may kidnap them and take them on a bus and we go somewhere and do something as a team because we have to be people sometimes and we have to let loose sometimes and trust each other. So it's really important to me. The other thing that I think is one of the biggest game changers I know is what we call learning walks. And the way we do learning walks at any place that I've been is I schedule out my whole day. The leadership team picks one day a month and we pick a focus that we're working on. And everybody during their plan time, the assistant principals, the coach, and then each team, we walk and we go to 3 classrooms at least during that hour plan time. And our goal is to find the sheet that we look, it says something I saw, something I liked, something I wonder, and something I'm going to try tomorrow.
Wow. I love
And
that.
it's fantastic because you may have a brand new baby kindergarten teacher. And this fourth grade teacher who's taught for 20 years comes in and says, I'm stealing that.
Yes.
Man, I mean, so what I call that, the book that I'm trying to write in my head is called Culture from the Inside Out, because nothing grows them and builds trust better than them seeing the hard work that they're doing and then going and seeing them using it the next day and sharing out what they're doing with each other, and that it's working. And it really just takes walls down inside the building, because it's an island job if you let it. I refuse to let that happen.
And it's very courage building and confidence building when a new teacher gets an affirmation from a seasoned teacher. Hey, I liked what you did there, and I'm going to use that too, because it will add value to my own classroom. That is so
it's huge.
affirming.
It's huge. It's bigger than me leaving it or any administrator leaving it.
Yes.
If a peer that they have respect for it does it. And so we all write notes, and we leave a door full of sticky notes. Everybody leaves a sticky note. And, at my building before, when I left 10 years later, some of them still have those notes on their door. Some of them had them in there. We have a It's Worth It box that we made, and all of our positive notes go in that It's Worth It box. And you save those because on those hard days, you need them. We do those monthly. Originally, the teachers were throwing tomatoes at me because I took a plan time. But now they ask, when are we doing them? And I honestly have a teacher who worked for me at my old school, I think 6 years, left and moved down to Arkansas. And last year she said, you're in Arkansas. And she came to tour one day at the school I was in and said, I really miss learning walks. And I was like, you did not like them originally, but then she came and now she works for me again. And so I hired her again. And so she's a big advocate for, I said, listen, guys, she came on her own this time. So this is on her. She took this on her own.
Right.
But it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to have that. And when you have happy teachers, you have happy kids. When you have happy kids, you have happy parents. And that all equals to happy principal who can do our job. So
yes,
it makes a big difference. Yeah.
Yes. So that's a lot of things that you've said.
That was a lot. Sorry.
No, it's great. I mean, it's just like a lot of rich stuff is what I mean by that. And this is what our aspiring administrators or our aspiring leaders from the classroom, this is the type of stuff they need to hear. And you can lead from any position. Yes. And you can lead in a way that is edifying to others. You're not like boss, that is out. Like,
I'm not either. I mean, if I have to be, that's the role I'll play, but I can coach people into doing the right thing most of the time. Sometimes you're not, but I think that's what it is, aspiring, because your typical bosses aren't what people want to be. And so when you say, do you want to be a principal? Ooh, no, they think about what they had when they were younger in elementary school. And they're like, ooh, but still, I mean, I just had a kindergartner. You're the principal? I was like, yeah, you wear leopard almost every day. It's just like, so it's just the image that people have of that, and so breaking that stigma, I think, is important.
Yes, it is, definitely. That type of leadership has come a long way, just really a lot more, even in the last, 5-10 years. I can see a difference in the things that I'm reading on social media from our leadership, building leadership, and the things that they're putting out there, and their thought process has changed. Their mindset has changed around what that looks like, and getting into classrooms and getting out of your office and not being that typical boss anymore, but a building leader. You're the instructional leader. You're a leader for everything in your building, and you are like the lead model in your building as well. So if they see you coming in edifying and with gratitude and
able to speak their language. I've never been so offended by administrators that come in and they have no idea what I'm doing, nor if it's good or bad. Like, so there's a mutual respect where I'm like, I can say, okay, I do not understand the math that you are teaching up there. I can promise you that, but I can tell if they're getting it or not getting it, because I know what learning looks like.
Right.
And I can model that. And I think that's another thing that leaders need to recognize, is that you are still a teacher. You have a class, and I say sometimes I have 40 wives, which is no fun. They are the adults. It's my job to take care of and grow their brains so they can keep that going. So every faculty meeting is an opportunity to model a strategy, Every time you're together with a team is an opportunity to show that you still love instruction and talk the talk and walk the walk. You can read a book and list it all you want, but if you can't say in a staff meeting, I want to talk to them about classroom management and how you can tie that into curriculum. So I read Rulers of the Playground, and we do a lesson on comprehension and how we can tie that to what we're studying, but also we're tying it to what we're not seeing on the playground and behaviors and things like that. So it doesn't have to be one or the other, but if they don't know, we have to teach them, just like with kids. And until I've taught them, I can't be certain that they know. So it's really frustrating working with adults, but if you take it from the mindset of, how do I know that they know? I've never explicitly told them.
Right.
And keeping the perspective of the classroom, I think, is huge.
And sometimes we think that teachers don't want to hear the hard truths or the tough stuff, have the tough love. But when I was a dean of instruction, I realized there was so much that I didn't receive as a teacher from my administrators. And I probably was not the best administrator when I was a principal for the first time, because I modeled what had been modeled for me. And I learned to do it better as I was in a program for, it was Missouri Leadership Development System.
Yeah, that's
and Leadership Academy. So I learned a better way, and I had started modeling that for my teachers. Plus, I started seeing the value in what my teachers could offer, because you have that mindset from the rural schools that I come from. Yeah. And I'm not knocking rural schools.
No, they're some of my favorite. Yeah.
Yes, but they're maybe not learning the things that they need to push their district forward in a way that's responsive. And I started seeing, okay, I can leverage the people who work in my building, my human capital. I can leverage them so I don't have to do everything. I don't have to know everything, because I don't know everything. And I'm learning from them as much as they're learning from me. Then I can also let them shine in a way that edifies them. And I started picking out certain people that I knew were going to be great leaders one day. And I started cultivating that in them. I never had anyone do that for me. You did, fortunately. You were lucky that someone did that for you and told you, hey, I think you'll be a good leader.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to do that for someone else. So I pushed along a couple of really strong people in my building when I was principal into leadership. And sometimes they don't love it. Sometimes they don't.
No, they don't, because they have to have those hard conversations or even just pushing them to do things that are hard. You know, the rule here is we don't say I can't. Like I cannot work. Oh, we don't say I can't. We say I don't know how to yet, but we're going to figure it out.
Right.
And, they may be mad at me at the beginning, just like my own kids, but in the end, they're proud of themselves and for pushing through those hard things. And I think we've given up some of that grit, and we've given up some of the hard things. And I think part of that is trying to do things the way they've always been done, which is what education does. This is in our circle of control. This is not. So let's find something in that circle of control and change it. If I get down, they get down. If I'm up, they're up. And I think that's a really important thing to keep in mind, is that just like the kids in your class, they're always watching. I have to keep a positive mindset about what's happening in the district, whether I truly believe it or not. They need to see that. They need to see that I believe in what we're doing. They need to see that I will back them up. That same way, they need to see I will defend them. If this is not okay for kids, we're not doing it, and I will fight that battle. And so we'll have those conversations. I don't agree with this, but it's not going to damage kids, and it's not going to affect the way we do things. So we're going to do it. Or, you know what, this is not okay. I'm going to fight this battle and back them up. And I think that creates safety. Yes. And we need that as teachers, is not that we're going to ruffle feathers, but we're going to fight for kids and fight for people. Yes. And I think that's important, to be willing to do what's best for humans,
I agree. Definitely. So we're running a little short on time now. Give me one last spark of inspiration for our aspiring leaders or leaders who are brand new in their position, around mindset, around culture, anything that you want to give them, like one last nugget.
I mean, I think that it's okay to not know. that's important. And it's okay to ask for that help and constantly or surround yourself with people that make you better and model that. So it's okay to go in and not know some of the answers and find people that do and find people that compliment you. But the other thing I think that people told me that I wasn't sure of was when the job is the one for you, you're going to know. And, you know, I applied for several positions before I got my first job and, you know, maybe interviewed for a couple, but didn't really. But then when this one, the one that I had came open, I knew that was the job I wanted. I knew I could make a difference there. But I think what I didn't do was decide and define what that difference in success was going to be. And I changed that each day today. Our leadership team will meet. What's success for you today? Today is accomplishing this, that's success. And so what's the definition of success in 1 year, 2 years, 5 years versus that constantly moving carrot? And so I think making sure you set yourself up for success as opposed to the other way around.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So how can my audience connect with you if they would like to?
Yes. Now listen, I'm still old school with a lot of things, but I'm on LinkedIn for sure. Just Samantha Hamilton. I'm on Facebook. I post a lot of things on Facebook and I don't do a lot of the others, but I'm Samantha Hamilton on all of them. I'm working on a website, thebarefootprinciple.com, because I am always barefoot. Shoes are really not my thing. I mean, I love shoes. I have a lot of them, but I take them off immediately. So I'm Barefoot Principal, and, you know, I just love this job and I love to share what I do and I love to share what's happening. And so reaching out on any platform is wonderful.
That's awesome. I love that, Barefoot Principal. Now, I don't know if you have to run.
I'm barefoot here a lot.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just what I am, because that's when it's time to get real. My hair goes up and my shoes come off, and then it's time to get some work done.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. I love it.
Usually it's a binder clip in my hair. That's how the teachers know.
I tell you what, when you are at school, you use whatever. I have used paper clips in my hair because my hair was
pens. Yeah. Whatever you can buy.
Do as a teacher. And you always have tools and those things in your classroom or your office. So you always have that stuff you can use. Binder clips too.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you live here. You live here. Yes, that's how it works.
You got to love it. You got to love it.
Yes.
It has been an absolute pleasure having you on. I am so excited that we have gotten to connect. And I love your leopard print and your glasses are even. I can see your glasses and
yes, there's always something. Yes.
That's awesome. And you have the bright lipstick. I love it. I love it. So wonderful.
Thank you. It's a great job. We got to love what we do every day. So if I can help anybody do that, that's my job. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you so much for being on.
Thank you.
And for the rest of you, thank you for joining us today. And I will see you back here, same time, same place next week. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.